Hey there, world. What is happening? How are we feeling about our feelings? Been a while. Been a minute since we last talked. I haven't been on social media for about the last like 4 or 5 months. Um, and I felt like if ever there was a year to do it, this was the year. So I took a break, and I gotta say it's been nice. But I have missed keeping in touch with good friends, and so I thought today would be a pretty good day to touch base and say hey, because I woke up to the news today that today is the 40th time that I have traveled around the sun. 14,600 days if you're weird like me and you calculate that. Uh, uh, and I gotta say, I was not thrilled about this news. Um, yeah, when I realized, man, I'm turning 40. I will never again be in my 30s. That blew my mind. And at first I was like, man, I don't feel 40. I'm not 40. There's no way. But then when I actually thought about it, I am most definitely at least 40. I mean, all the weird things I've done, I feel like frankly, I could be in my late 50s. You know, when I think back on the decade that was my 30s, it was a pretty unbeatable decade. Let me paint you a picture. Let's get into story time. Pour a cup of coffee, sit down with me, and I'll tell you about my 30s. I started my 30s living in Vancouver, Canada. I had moved to Vancouver to get involved in film, and I climbed up rung by rung, bit by bit, to get in front of camera and to learn about this crazy industry. And it was nuts. I was living that broke actor life, and I felt really alive. I felt honored to be part of the community. I spent 6 years in Vancouver building that, and it was hard and also fantastic and great. And I was just grinding through a dozen part-time jobs, and just starting to get comfortable in the brutal industry that is acting. And then out of the left field in 2012, when I'm 32, I get this opportunity to go work in Thailand as a model. Now, keep in mind, I had grown up in Alberta. I worked in the oil patch. I worked in construction. It was it was just mind blowing that at 32 years old, I took this massive left turn and ended up living in Thailand, working as an international male model. And it was crazy. It was just this like totally like new chapter. And I got to travel the world. I traveled to like 40 countries and went all over the flipping place. And it was just incredible. In 2015 was a bit of a highlight. I traveled the world. I went to 24 countries. I lived in a car with some friends, drove through Europe. I went to Africa. I went to South America. I went through Asia. It was just craziness. At the end of that, I was just exhausted. It was amazing and exciting and exhausting and expensive. And I landed back in 2016 in Canada and thought, okay, I got to do something just kind of chill for a bit. So I did a reality TV show. Randomly, I had a buddy. Random is a word we're going to use often here. Randomly, I had a buddy who was producing The Bachelorette, and next thing you know, I found myself on this crazy polygamous cult reality TV show. And it was actually awesome. It was great. She was great. The guys I met on the show were great. The crew was great. It was a really cool experience. After that, I figured, well, obviously I should go get a job working on boats. That would make sense. So I I'd always wanted to work on yachts, and I just made the decision I'm going to go do this. So I bought a plane ticket to France, went to Antibes, got a little app that showed me where the yachts were, and I just chased that dream around. And after 3 months in the Med, working on all sorts of different boats, I finally got on a boat in the Caribbean, based out of Miami. And then I did the Caribbean. So I worked in the Med, I did the Caribbean, and I ended up on a boat in the west coast of Vancouver. And it was just such a crazy experience. It was a lot of hard work. It was grueling, but it was beautiful, and it was really cool to have taken a chance and done something that Nobody was like, hey, Kev, you should go work on boats. But I wanted to do it. And I just said, well, I only get to be alive once, and I'm going to do the things I want to do. And so I did it. So that was pretty cool. When I got sick of living in a room the size of a closet in the bottom of a boat, being seasick all the time, which I get, I decided, let's take a change. Let's make a change. And I went back to Thailand and I decided to start teaching English. So I took some courses, started teaching online. And once I had enough experience with that, I moved to China, went to Shanghai, and I hunted down a job at a school. And I ended up getting with a great school and being in a classroom teaching adults who were super interested. And I have to say that is by far the best job I've ever had. I used every little bit of experience I've ever had in my life to do that. It was all applicable, and it was an honor to help people better themselves and learn a language. And it was rewarding, it was exciting, and it was good money, and I really loved doing that. And then on the side, not just getting to do that, but I also was working as an actor again. And something I thought was done, I started booking all these commercials, just like nothing like really fulfilling acting, but it was exciting because I was working more than I ever had, and it was my side job. I didn't even think I'd be doing this, and now I'm doing this one rewarding job and this other super exciting set life crazy job. And I did that for a couple years, and I made I made China home. I made Shanghai home, and it started to feel like a place I was going to be for a long time. I came into 2020 thinking, man, this is my year. I've got this dialed in. I'm going to kill it this year. And then 2020 got going. Pretty quick into 2020, my students said, hey Kev, if you can get out of China, now is the time. This virus is bigger than the media is saying it is. So I went to Thailand thinking I'd be gone for 2 weeks, maybe a month, packed a suitcase with like Hawaiian shirts and flip-flops, and then was never allowed to go back. The virus got out of control. I quickly had to leave Thailand because borders were closing. I ended up going back to Canada, and I never went home. I never saw my place again. And it's a long, complicated story. I ended up losing my apartment. My landlord screwed me over. And I was able to get a couple boxes. A friend packed up a couple boxes, sent them to Canada. But I lost the rest of my life there. I lost my job. I lost my home. I lost my life. The life I had built, and something I felt so happy to be in. And it meant the world to me to have built that out of nothing. And I really liked it, and I miss it. And when that happened, I thought, okay, look, you've been through things before. You can handle this. You've pivoted before. So I made like an inspirational YouTube video or Instagram video where I was like, yeah, life goes on. Forwards ever, backwards never. And I made that goal, and I was like, okay, let's do it. So I moved to Vancouver and called up my old agent and said, let's get going. Let's do this. It's time to realize that acting dream. But I didn't realize that I still needed time to grieve about what I lost in China. And that crept up on me, and I've had a lot of trouble this year saying goodbye to that. It feels like there was a fire. It feels like a breakup, and it just feels unnatural. It feels very weird. And then the other thing I thought was I didn't remember just how hard it is to work as an actor, the grind that it is. And I mean, acting is this lunatic job where you are supposed to be confident and vulnerable in the most unconfident of situations, and your job is essentially being told no for a living, just no after no, getting mashed. And normally I could just barely handle it, but this in the COVID landscape was too much. With the isolation, not being able to see the friends I would love to see in Vancouver, with the gloomy, rainy day that is every day in Vancouver in the winter, with the lack of money because I can't do any of the side jobs anymore, and I wasn't booking. I went from booking all the time to booking nothing. Like I had a couple jobs. And then the phone's just not ringing, and I'm just sitting in my apartment, like, feeling, what the hell happened? You put all this together, and it was just the perfect storm of things that led to some really dark days. This year just mashed me. And I needed a win. And then luckily, I actually got once again, super random. This buddy of mine from Malaysia contacts me. He's like, hey, there's this big movie. They're needing North American actors to play soldiers in the Korean War. Can I put you in for a casting? It's like, yeah, sure. Just a friend trying to help me out. Hey, Dan. Next thing you know, like 2 antagonizing months later of the audition process, like 4 auditions, a million billion back and forths, I book it. I book a role as a soldier in the Korean War. It's going to be like 4 to 6 months shooting. It's going to be a month boot camp. It's shooting in Asia. I'm over the moon. This is I needed this win so bad. I was so bagged and tired and burnt out from this awful, awful year. And this just was like, okay, universe is listening. I'm going to be all right. And it meant the world to me. You know, going into my 40s with this win in my pocket was like, thank you. I needed this. And then this week I woke up to the news that the movie's canceled because of COVID. I have to be honest. You know, I think that we're always so positive on social media, and I think it's a mistake to just only show the icing. This crushed me. It crushed me. I needed this win. I needed this so bad. I wanted this job so bad, and I just wasn't prepared for that. I have to admit, I've been spending the last week feeling bitter and broken and just angry about this awful year that just feels like it's taken everything from me. And it took a few it took a lot of work to be even able to talk about it, let alone actually make a video and say, hey. And I would not have done this. However, I woke up today to the news. It's my 40th birthday, and I know this because of all the wonderful, amazing people who messaged me to let me know that they care about me. And these are people who I haven't seen in forever, people who I surely did not say happy birthday to them because I'm awful at remembering that. But I'm just amazed at the people who keep me in their life even when I'm not around. I've actually written this down so I didn't screw it up. You know, I really am. I'm a hard friend to be friends with. I'm always gone. I'm the guy that left, and yet there's people out there who care about me for some reason. They reach out to remind me that no matter where I am, they're still there, being my friend. There's no language I could learn that would ever properly convey what that means to me. And especially after a year like this, that's made all the difference. Whew. All right. I wanted to put that out there. I just wanted to send some love to people because this has been a year. But it's also been a really great decade. And I never would have guessed I'd get to live a decade like this. And I'm very glad to be here. And I'm glad to share it with the people who care about me. And I hope that I can be there for you guys anytime. So that's my update. And as a way of saying thank you and to try and end this on a positive note, break out my non-sexual life partner here. And I'm going to play you a little song. So I've been wondering and a thinking, seems like ages I've been missing. I've been missing you, but the words won't do, 'cause it's surely been too long, far too long since I've been gone. I should have rang to right this wrong, but instead I wrote this song. Happy birthday, Merry Christmas, hope you got my hugs and kisses that I sent to you. I've been missing you. Happy Easter and St. Patty's. Have a beer with all the laddies. Valentine just ain't the same. New Year's Eve is kinda lame. Those autumn leaves a sight to see next. Halloween, I'm sure you'll be something scary, sexy, funny, and you're cool. Hope the winter's not a bummer. Soon the spring and then the summer. Yes, I think of you. That won't do. No, that won't do. I miss you so. I miss you so. I miss you so. So you can Skype me, Google Chat, instant message, remember that. No more MySpace, just WhatsApp. Now I'm linked in with Facebook chat. Or you can pen me in the mail at snail's pace like we're in jail. I'm alone in solitude and not with you. I'd plan a jailbreak for you. I miss you so. I miss you so. I miss you so. Soon enough the days will come. We'll reunite this play, forgotten in the fun. Times of old will come anew, but that won't do. My patience is through. So I've been hoping and a wishing you and me were gone a fishing. We could drain some beers and laugh ourselves to tears. Cause if it's raining, no one knows. The boat's a puddle for our toes. Sit back, enjoy the rain, even though no fishes came. Cause it don't matter where we are. The trip we take, the makeup car. Yes, it only matters that it's me and you. In the end, that's all that counts. Matters not what vast amounts of miles separate the space from me to you. I'll still be thinking about you. I'll still be thinking about you. I'll still be thinking about you. And I'll still be thinking about you. I miss you, and I look forward to seeing you again. Thanks for being part of my year, friends.